Well, that was stupid. I wonder what the heck that was. Well, I guess since we're already here and I'm like 30 minutes late. Huh, well, that's kind of weird. Alright, well, I apologize for that. I'd love to tell you as I gave you a ton of information of stuff that, relevant stuff, but to be quite honest with you, I was just kind of bumbling about with this thing. I've had this carburetor for maybe a couple of months, something like that, but still had a little fuel in it, which I thought was kind of funny. And because it's been sitting here in the garage for a while. There's I can't tell, there's like some epoxy or something in here. This carburetor has certainly been abused. Yeah, that's something. I'll have to clean that up and see what's in there. But yeah, this carburetor was kind of a backup for the Chevelle. But I will tell you that since the Edelbrock VRS series carburetors got announced back in SEMA back in November, I've kind of put that on hold. 31s, kind of put that on hold, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the Edelbrock VRS instead, and see how that works out. This carburetor's not too bad, really. It's externally everything's kind of ugly. I thought on the inside it was going to be worse, but it doesn't look too bad. Anyway, the Edelbrock VRS carburetor, the new race carburetor, is what I'm going to try on the Chevelle. Hopefully, I'm hopeful anyway to get back on that. The small block should be done this coming week. I've got the transmission, the TCI transmission and converters here. Yeah, Deerslayer, I'm eager to as well. I put a picture up, I think here on the community tab, and then on Instagram, I think I shared the same photo. But that carburetor is running a little late. According to Edelbrock, they're just running into some tooling for the shafts. The shafts are awesome on that carburetor. They have 1/2 inch primary and secondary shafts. And speaking of epoxy, I think this thing was leaking out of the, somebody tried to epoxy it. So it looks like. But anyway, they've just kind of run into some tooling issues there. And it sounds like when they get those sorted out here fairly quickly, the 650s will be first. The 750 will follow soon after that. And then the 850 and the 950 sometime before the end of the year. So I should have one of those as soon as the 650 becomes available. I should have one pretty quickly. So as soon as we do that, I will shoot a video on it pretty quickly so you guys can see that carburetor. And yeah, somebody tried to seal up that throttle shaft. But I'll do a video on it as soon as I get it so you guys can see it and take a peek at it and see the... I got to see a little bit of the internals on it, and I can tell you it's pretty remarkable. Some of the features on that thing. The short video I did at SEMA just doesn't really do it justice. You know, it didn't really cover anything because it was just all the external shot of it. But I think once you see the inside of it, and we go over some of the features on it, I think you're going to be pretty impressed with it. I got a ballpark of what the price is going to be, but I told him I wouldn't say anything until it came out. But I will tell you that the price should be really, really, really good for that carburetor. So I will try to keep my mouth shut on that, and that way I can get my hands on one of the first runs. And yeah, show you guys out here pretty soon. I threw a picture on Instagram. Somebody put a larger size screw in there, but somebody tried to RTV this, so it had some leaking issues at some point, and all the RTV was inside. You can't really see it on the GoPro, I'm sure, but all the RTV had boogered out in there. You can see it on the float. So this thing had problems for sure. So, but we shall see. We'll get into the ultrasonic cleaner sometime tonight, maybe, and see if it's going to be something we can use. But anyway, yeah, I asked for questions for the live stream and the VRS carburetor availability. You're probably pretty close to that, Deer Slayer. I don't think you're going to be too far off of that. But again, I told him I wouldn't give any indication of that. I'm sure the way manufacturing goes, costing, those are loose. Costing is something that's the absolute last thing that's done on anything. You know, they have to go back through and tally up all the raw material cost and CNCing time, all the materials that go into it. So I'm sure they're having I'm sure it'll be an interesting deal when they get it all done to see how much it's going to be. But I was told it was going to be very, very competitively priced. Whoa. Oh, 84. I thought that said 64 at front at first. I was like, huh. Well, that's a small jet for that carburetor, but it's 84s, so not bad for an 850, I guess. But yeah, I'm eagerly looking forward to that new 850 or the new VRS carburetor. And again, I don't know. I have to talk to the engineer a little bit more to see how they do that. But I know that the testing was pretty good. And some of those carburetors were, they were running a much smaller carburetor on some of the test engines that they were working with. So we'll see. I'm not, I'll get more details when we get a little bit closer, when I get my hands on it, but I'm totally stoked to do that. So I'm hoping, did I say those were 86s in the front? They are. There are 86s in the rear too. Well, this carburetor wasn't treated very well. So that doesn't surprise me. But typically that smaller jet size in the rear. Yep. Well, at least they matched anyway. But yeah, the VRS carburetor was one of the things I was going to talk about. That was one of the questions that I had asked for, and that was one that when it was going to be available. I think the original plan was to try to have them by the end of this month, and I don't think they're going to get there, obviously, because we're there now. It's today the 23rd, 24th, 25th, something like that. So I doubt they'll get there now, but maybe July they'll get it done. Like I said, they were just working on some tooling that was kind of slowing them down. Thought that was loose. So anyway, hopefully that's pretty soon. So that was one of the questions I had anyway, was when that thing was going to be available. So I cannot wait to get my hands on it, and as soon as I do, I will get a video out on that very, very, very quickly. So let you guys see that thing. So I'm pretty stoked about what that carburetor could be, and especially with all the emulsions and bleeds in it. There are just so many things about that carburetor that are right for a street car and a race car, but that line's been blurred so much in the last 10 years with 1,000 horsepower street cars and all that, it's not going to be, it's not too surprising that you'll see a street carburetor that has that level of adjustability to it, for the old school carburetor guys. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked about getting my hands on that one. So I guess I will probably call them sometime this week and see if they can give me an update on where it's at. But it's one of those things in manufacturing and releasing new product, you're going to hear about it when it's ready, not when you ask questions. So I get it, but as long as it's right, it doesn't really matter when it gets released to the market. So any opinion on the Summit M2000 carburetor bus? Yeah, the Summit stuff, I know that it's been a couple of, maybe a year or so that I had seen some dyno results on it. It wasn't bad, but it also wasn't, it didn't make the same power. If you took a comparable Holley or whatever series it was that we tested, it just didn't make the same amount of horsepower as the others. So it's not surprising. They're all Chinese offshore knockoffs of whatever it is that they're knocking off. Most of them are Holley 4150s or 4160 carburetors. So they're okay. I mean, if you're looking for an inexpensive carburetor, it's probably not a bad thing. But if you're looking for something that's a little more nice and less Chinese, the Edelbrocker Holley is definitely the way to go. But I think quite a bit of the Holley stuff is made offshore now too. So, but that's their decision, not a knockoff by Summit. So, what about the summer carbs too? Yeah, only concern China. Yeah, here's the thing about Chinese quality, and I've gotten asked that quite a bit. Let me take a little sip of refreshment here in my hot as blazes garage. China's kind of interesting. Most people assume that because it's made in China, well, it's nice if that fell right apart. If it's made in China, it's automatically junk. And I will tell you that that's the case in a lot of things with some folks that bring in stuff from offshore. And here's the way that typically goes. And I won't tell you all the details of this, but I have been over in China before and have sat down in one of those meetings when we were looking at bringing over some product for a startup company. And that company is currently on the market. Doesn't matter who it is. But here's the way it goes. Depending on what vendor you go to, they're almost all the same, because I think we visited a total of 3. It was 2 on the first day, 1 on the second day, and they all kind of know you're going to multiple different places. But let's say you're gonna knock off these float bowls. So they will bring out 3 different ones, and they'll set them all. Well, I guess I only have 2 to talk about. They'll set them all side by side by side. Okay, and they'll tell you, here is our top of the line float bowl. It meets every spec. Every detail is meticulously taken care of. It's measured. It's done on our finest equipment. It has the most CNC time or assembly time or quality control time, whatever it is the highest quality part that we can make, and we guarantee you, no matter what spec you're looking for, that float bowl will be top of the line. No one else in the market will be better than that. Okay, cool. Then here's kind of our mid-level. It's good. It's got a lot of the same, features and some of the good quality and the machine time, and it's made from close to the same materials possibly, and it's a really good piece, and it's a little bit less money. Here's our entry-level one. It's literally the biggest pile of crap that we could make and still call it a float bowl. Can't guarantee you what the warranty rate's going to be on it. It's probably going to be 10-20%. We don't know. We don't care. If you want the cheapest piece of garbage that we can make, that's it right there. No problem. This one is the most expensive. It's going to cost you the most. This one's middle of the road, and this one's the biggest piece of junk. Most folks that go over there or bring samples over to the U.S. to do that, almost 100% of the time, they will go for the cheapest piece of garbage that they can bring offshore. Why? Because even if 10 or 20% fail and they have to huck it in the dumpster and send you a new one, they have so little money invested in those things, it doesn't matter to them. If they fail, they replace it. You're typically happy. Go on down the road. As long as the second one or third one or whatever one works, they don't care. They don't want to spend the money on the top of the line one because it's too much money. It puts them in the market with everyone else. Why fight that? There's less margin in it, so they're not going to make as much money. And why would you spend all that time on something you're not going to make a ton of money on? Almost all the time that I've seen that, no one ever takes the middle of the road. They just offer it because they're not sure. Almost every single one that I sat down with that group that we went over with, same type of thing. They'll offer you three choices: highest quality, middle quality, and literally the biggest piece of garbage that they can make. So again, when you see Chinese knockoff stuff, most of the time it's that biggest piece of garbage. Now, I can't tell you what that quality looks like for everyone, but all I can tell you is the experience that I had in country and as a rep here in the U.S. for some brands in my past that have tried to go offshore with some things, and it just works that way almost every single time. So anyway, a little inside baseball on that, but it's good to know, I guess. You just never know with the Chinese stuff. So that should have stirred up a few comments. Let's see anything here in the... So, all right. Well, anyway, I guess it didn't cause too much uproar in the comments. But anyway, that's typically the way that works out. So I have been fortunate enough to have made a trip over there to see it firsthand. Again, it was for a startup. Ooh, this thing's boogered. It was for a startup company. And we did end up buying it. And yeah, they chose they ended up buying it. I wasn't an investor. I just was there for the quality control. And they chose the cheapest piece of junk that they offered. So not surprising. So anyway. Just some detail that you probably didn't care about, but I don't mind sharing industry secrets because, to be quite honest with you, I don't really care about the Chinese knockoff stuff, to be very blunt with you. Just about every streetcar that's on the market has something on it that's made in China. That's okay. There's no knock on that. If that's what you can afford, if that's all you can do, I'm cool with that. Shouldn't be any stigma in that. But it's when that company, whoever it is, takes something offshore to knock it off, and the engineering was done, all the testing was done by someone else, and whatever the knockoff is, they're just going to test after all the work has already been done, they made no investment in it. That's what I have problems with. Too much stuff is being knocked off offshore, and I don't like that at all. Fortunately, with COVID, I don't know if you can see me sweating my butt off here. Fortunately, with COVID, it slowed some of the Chinese imports down. So a lot of those companies, well, everybody's facing backorder issues right now, but a lot of those companies that bring over a majority of their product from offshore are suffering quite a bit from that. But this accelerator pump was the one that was all boogered up. I can't remember how well I cleaned it, so this one's got an oversized screw in it. So they stripped it out at some point. Yeah, I don't know, you can kind of see that on the live stream at all, but it's got some RTV still in there. You kind of see it right there. It was totally full, so it probably sealed it up a little bit, but yeah, it was ugly. Anyway, well, let's see what's going on in the comment section. Yari Cavalry. Mr. Cavalry. I don't know what that signifies there, Mr. Yari. But I will show you something here. I got for the new truck. So anyway, live stream in a few seconds to catch up. But yeah, some of my background there. Anyway, unimportant. Yeah, you might be able to see that on the live stream too, how nasty and crusty and disgusting that is. That's the part that concerns me. I don't know if that's going to clean up. It is pretty nasty. Somebody's been into it recently. I guess that's probably what the RTV was, but that's the concern is, can I clean this up? And then did we have some fuel push past the throttle plates? It looks pretty nasty. So underside doesn't look bad, but when you get into the inside, so we'll throw it in the ultrasonic and see if it cleans it up. But yeah, do not know. All right, the other question, one of the other questions I had is, because I'm doing this 4150, I had a question about rebuild kits. And I think I did a Holley rebuild video on something, maybe it was the 800 that I had for the Chevelle, but I'll show you which ones I use now. Hang tight. So O'Reilly carries the Edelbrock branded Holley carburetor kit. I know that sounds funny, but if you look on the back, Edelbrock USA, packaging still old, so it's got the Torrance address on there. But Edelbrock, for some reason, got that space in O'Reilly, and they've been doing their carburetor kits for maybe a couple of years now. That I don't know. I couldn't tell you how long, but I'll tell you, I do like that kit. This one has been opened, I think. Yeah, but they're pretty complete. Like, they've got two kits. They've got one carburetor that covers all the 4160, so all the vacuum secondaries carburetors, and then you've got one kit that covers all of the 4150s. So you'll see where they have multiple accelerator pumps in it, and some different gaskets depending on the series. So this kit will fit all of the 4150 series. So they're pretty reasonably priced. I can't tell you off the top of my head how much they are. But if you're in the US and you shop at O'Reilly's, that's an Edelbrock kit. You may have already seen that or noticed that, but I've been using them for several years now, and I don't have any issues with it. If I need to go with something that's a little bit more higher quality, I don't think it is, but I'll use the AED kit. Seems to work okay, but I don't. The Edelbrock kit seems to be pretty good. It says it's made in the USA, so you can't really put that on the packaging. So I'm assuming they have that done by probably Walker, the same company that does all the Edelbrock rebuild kits. So let me throw that in the trash. So anyway, another question I had is what rebuild kit I use for the Holleys, and it's the off-the-shelf one at O'Reilly. Really good kit. I don't have no issues with using those at all. So, all right. What other comments do we have here? Total war game. I don't. It doesn't matter to me. There, Yard Cavalry. It's all good to me, man. Modern Battlefield's full of cyber warriors anyway, so you do you, brother. I think it's cool. Whole comedy thing too. Some time, really interesting. Yeah, the classic Holley carburetor is great. Hang tight 1 second. Let me take a sip here. The classic Holley carburetors are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But like I tell everybody, let me grab. Oh. So what I tell everybody, and if you watched any of my videos, carburetors are situational. Anyone that tells you the Holley carburetor is junk, you never should use it. It's horrible. It leaks. It uses way too much fuel. It's too dumb. Whatever the argument is, same with the Edelbrock. You can't adjust it. You can't tune it. They're too finicky. Whatever the argument is there, you know that guy doesn't know anything about carburetors, and he probably doesn't know a heck of a lot about cars. The reason that is they're situational. There are situations where that Edelbrock AVS2 or Performer Series carburetor is the answer for whatever it is that we're trying to put it on. There is an application that Holley 4150 or 4160 is the answer for what you're doing. If you're in a race situation, wide open throttle, drag racing with nitrous,